So Casey Johnson released yesterday that the Bulls front office search could be coming a lot faster than initially expected. Now, how do you take that, right? Like, I say this, the Bulls front office search has already been going on. Like, Acme was fired almost a month ago at this point, right? Like, and so because of that, you want this in place. And we always talked about the deadline kind of being that May 10th. That is the hard date that you want to have at least your new executive. Now, if the GM and the coach come a little bit after that, that's perfectly fine. But ideally, you want that new exec named before the draft combine. Not just because the draft lottery starts on the same day, but because you want somebody up close and personal that's scouting, that's interviewing, that's sitting there having these meetings with the players that are going to be in the draft combine. You want that done. So, final interviews have already been reportedly underway. They have already started. And so, when people ask why the draft lottery and combine timeline matters, it's because so much work gets done there. Like, you will hear GMs talk about how trades that happen later on in the offseason, maybe it doesn't happen until June, maybe it doesn't happen until closer to July, but a lot of that groundwork really gets started at the draft combine. Anytime you have something where so many, NBA execs, GMs, and scouts are all in one place, that is a place where a lot of business gets done. So, just for that part of it, right, in case any moves do happen, we've already talked about how the Chicago Bulls can use their cap space to take on bad salary from other teams, stack assets if that ends up being the case, or you can even try to absorb a player like Isaiah Hartenstein from the Thunder if they do plan on kind of cutting him and opting out of that contract. So a lot of that becomes, a focus there. Then you have the interviews with players. You have the private workouts with players. Like, all that stuff is really important to get that done, right? And so I think after you hire your exec, which is really good, right? Once you get that done, of course, then you have to pivot towards, you have to do your coaching hire, right? You have to make that decision. That decision takes priority between that and the draft combine and those type of things. So if the Bulls are truly ready to name their new exec sooner rather than later, that is the best thing possible because it just shortens that timeline and it gets things really done sooner rather than later. And that's where the Bulls really need to be. They need to be getting stuff done. And so we'll see what's going to happen in that one. ESPN's Shams Charania did report that the plan is to have somebody in place before or after the draft combine, which is held in Chicago. On top of that, we got to always remember the draft combine is basically always in Chicago. And so with this draft being huge, with 2 picks in the top 20 at least, of course you hope that at the draft lottery you're going to get some luck and move into the top 4. It's in the team's best interest to get this done as soon as possible. Casey Johnson, the direct quote was this: "I'm told that can happen maybe late this week, early next week, and then obviously the coach search becomes priority number 1. So, this thing could all start moving pretty quickly.